Central Empire Wrestling presents Bridge City Slam 6 live Saturday, September 7th at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. Come see Jake the Snake Roberts, Buff Bagwell, former WWE Tag Team Champions Demolition, Real One Enzo Amore, The Powers of Pain, The Boogeyman, Snitsky, Jordan Grace, Cameron Brunet, and the stars of CEW. Tickets start at just $20 and include the Fan Fest from 4 to 7 p.m. Get your tickets through Ticketmaster or at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. It's Bridge City Slam 6, live Saturday, September 7th at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. And a good morning. Welcome into the sports section. We are live from Brothers Market on what is kind of a chilly start to our August Saturday morning here in Southeast Iowa. We welcome you in as guests. We appreciate you taking time out on this Saturday morning to join us. Again, we're live at Brothers Market. Make sure you get in here and do some grocery shopping on this Saturday. We've got our host, Mitch Eslick, and we've got Lee Crawford as well hanging out this morning. Guys, what's going on?
How we doing, Steve? We're here. We're going to talk a little Sigourney baseball this morning. Celebrate the first ever trip to the state tournament in Sigourney baseball history. We're going to talk to Coach Crawford about their great run this summer. And yeah, I got to say, we can't be doing sweatshirts in August here. This is very disappointing for me. Lee's toughing it out with his T-shirt, but we got to have 90s in August. I'm one of those people that loves the heat. So a little disappointed with the weather this morning, but you know what? We'll survive. So we got Lee this morning and looking forward to chatting some Sigourney baseball here on the sports section.
All right, so stay tuned for that. Let's thank Brothers Market for being our host venue and the headline sponsor for the sports section. Savings are made simple. You can go to shopbrothersmarket.com. They've got digital coupons. You can earn rewards. They could show you the deal of the week. Lots of shopping deals. You can also download that app. It's a smart way to shop. It's all at Brothers Market. Shopbrothersmarket.com for some great deals online and with that app. Let's go back to the guys.
All right. So as you mentioned, we got Coach Crawford here. We're talking some Sigourney baseball. We had the softball team on last Saturday morning. Their state still celebrated their state championship, and now we got baseball celebrating their incredible run to the state tournament this year as well. Coach, just want to start, first question, just the season as a whole, just reflect on it. Obviously, quite a season for you and your baseball programs. Just kind of the entire year, reflect on how it went for you guys.
Obviously it ended really well. Getting to the state tournament, I think we still had some bitter tastes in our mouth a little bit after that 2-0 loss to Linville Sully, obviously. But kids wanted more, wanted to play another game, obviously, and wanted to keep the run going. And the season in a whole, if you look back, we kind of started planning. I believe we had a coaches meeting, late February, early March. Just a goal session, about the spring, what we wanted to accomplish, what we needed to get done, and kind of improve off of last year, what things we needed to fix and do some things. And we got that list, and we kind of set goals for the spring. And then, we always have kind of our season goals, kind of like I suppose you do. Win the conferences, always win the division, win the conference, and then, go as far as we can. We started off in the spring there, doing our pitching, and I think we get 15 hitting days now, and 3 of those can be full-out practices. And we really never got to a full-out practice session like the state offered us. We did a lot of pitching and hitting, and then we did end up having 2 scrimmages once our regular practices started, and building up to those points, we saw a lot of improvement in the kids. We saw great work ethic in the kids. We had great numbers. Everybody's showing up. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we had 5 or 6 kids playing spring ball on top of it, so we wouldn't see them on Saturdays. But we knew they were still getting their work in. And I would say, we talk about our season in a whole, and we started out scrimmaging Williamsburg there in early May, and We ended up, we're not supposed to keep scoring scrimmages, but let's say we kept scoring. It was, I think we lost 4-1, 4-2, something like that. And we saw their number one, their number two. Their number one had been, pitched in the state tournament the year before and on their state tourney run. And so we really came out of that game feeling really good about our pitching. Caden pitched well. Solon pitched well. Jake pitched well. Reed pitched well that game. So we saw kind of some intensity come up, a level of play in those kids, in that game. It gave us a huge amount of confidence coming out of that for practices. And then the next weekend we scrimmaged at Eddyville, and I think we 10-runned Eddyville 12-2 out here. And, after that we were like, well, what do we have, so to say. And, practice, and then first game comes along against Pella Christian. We end up winning that 9-4, and then, then we're really stepping back because, we had faced Williamsburg, who was a state tourney the year before for 3A, and Pella Christian had been state in 2A, and at that point in time, we kind of knew, what we had, moving forward. We had a pretty dang good ball club, and started the season, and things were really mowing right along. We're 7-0. Head up to Linville Sully, lose that game. We were up 3-1, lost 4-3, and had to pick them up a little bit. It took a day or two. Played Albernet the next day, lost 11-1, and really at that point, Mitch, it being 11-1, we sat out in the outfield and discussed that, that really wasn't what we wanted to have happen with that Albernet game. Yep. It was a non-conference game. We thought, compete a little better. We were still down from the night before. AD-wise, you probably shouldn't schedule a road trip to Linville Sully near Des Moines, and then the next night you're going north of Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, your AD really screwed you.
Yeah, you really should look at that a little closer. But it really took that game sitting in the outfield, I think, for the kids to realize, and they already realized it, but they realized where we were at as far as a team, how good we were, and how good we were supposed to be. And then we would, throughout the rest of the year, we would sit there and compare scores and, think about, how tough some conferences were and how maybe they weren't so tough, and do a little bit of comparison and just start analyzing some things. And really we started working on, we started working on the postseason stuff, way before English Valley. Obviously, it was like 2 or 3 weeks before EV. We kind of started planning a little bit as far as our postseason things, what we needed to work on, those types of things. And I will say that's probably rare. Mm-hmm. We usually don't start working that far ahead. We kind of knew some of our path, who was going to be like the top seeds, the excuse me, the Burlington Notre Dames, the Moravias, Hillcrest. We kind of knew in our area they were going to be the teams to look at, so we kind of started scouting them a little bit and looking at them. And we had some pretty good scouts on all of them. And then we get to the tourney trail, and we get English Valley there first. We'd seen them twice, beat them twice, and then we really didn't know a lot about Lone Tree. We had looked at their pitching staff quite a bit, who they had played, matched up, and ended up being pretty good ball game for us. And that coach, they had a pretty good game plan for us, and we pulled that out. And then probably the biggest game for me is the BGM game right now. Reed Molnex came in and pitched that, and we were really asking Reed just to pitch 65 pitches, just to look at pitching so we can turn people around for that Burlington Notre Dame game, or Moravia. At that point, we thought, the year before, Moravia was up on Burlington Notre Dame 3-1 going into the bottom of the 7th, and then Burlington Notre Dame pulled out a miracle and went to state. And so we knew that was kind of it'd be a tougher game, so we were kind of looking at pitching. And then Reed honestly, went above and beyond, and I think he went to like 101 pitches on the night. Pitched an awesome game for us, and I did another interview at another place, and I just told them, like, I've had great pitchers, but Reed's one of those great pitchers. But just a kid that he's gonna. When you tell him he's gonna get the ball, he is dialed in. Yep. And every moment that happened this year, and I said you're getting the ball. He stepped up, and he stepped up big time for us. That victory, propelled us to let Caden rest a little bit, let Caden start that next game, and then. I thought Caden did a great job against Burlington Notre Dame, and then bringing Chase in. So
I guess as we talk a little bit about the postseason, just as a coach, kind of what is your perspective? What are your thoughts on, you're going through the start of the tournament, you're the favorite. You're a huge favorite against EV, you're a favorite against Lone Tree, you're a favorite against BGM, and then you get to that Burlington Notre Dame game, and now you're an underdog. How do you feel as a coach? Do you feel like that frees you up? Do you feel like that frees the kids up after you get past those games where you're thinking, hey, we're the better team here. Right. This is a game we should win, as opposed to, this is another good team. It's two good teams. It's going to come down to a few small things. How do you feel as a coach when you get, especially in the postseason, as opposed to being the favorite, as opposed to being the underdog, or as opposed to being kind of in a toss-up situation?
So which one do I like better, or how did I deal with it?
How do you deal with both situations?
How did I deal with it?
With both, yeah.
It was interesting because, the Lone Tree game was kind of a catch game for us. I'll be honest, we've got Bound is a great thing. It's got all the stats. It's got all the stuff on there for you. You can look up all the records. You can do all that stuff. But it also, kids knew Lone Tree's record, and we had to really. There was a point in time during the season we told them. We told them it was your team, and the coaches were just here to guide them on their journey and enjoy the journey with them, and then get them prepared so they had the best possible outcomes we could come up with. Yep. So first I'll credit, Reed, Jake, and Carter. They did an amazing job, and a lot of juniors, but they were the senior captains. So I'll credit them a lot as far as keeping toes on the line and doing all those things. But it really started with us saying you have to be mentally prepared. No matter who's coming down the hill to play you, no matter who we're going to play.
Yep.
And we had learned that lesson from Alburnett.
Yeah.
You have to be mentally ready to play and do those things. And we had some tests along the way for that. The EV game was a perfect test for that. We could have nonchalantly went in there and not looked great.
Yep.
In that game. And so, the mental preparation for me in pregame is always huge, to know they're ready to play, those types of things. Do they get their at-bats they're hitting in? Do they take some ground balls? Do they, what are they, or are they just out there screwing around? And that's big for me is, if they're locked in then I know they're ready to play. In the EV game, we come out and we probably have it was probably our best pregame infield of the whole year, and it was getting ready for English Valley. Lone Tree's pregame infield was probably the second best one. Kids were looking sharp. They had their details down. We made a couple mistakes in it, but to me the Lone Tree game was a big catch game for us. Looking at stats, knowing they were going to throw an 8th grader, those types of things, and you kind of saw that in the game. We had to mentally get over a little bit of a hump in the middle of the game to get that victory. And then, like you said, we go into Burlington Notre Dame and we're the underdog. And then it kind of switches to a respect factor of, they don't think we're supposed to be here, that type of thing. And we've got some competitors on our team. Mitch, our kids very well. And whether it's any other sport you want to name, football, wrestling, basketball, we have some kids that love to compete, and
no doubt.
And we go 1, 2, 3 the first inning with on defense, and then Jake Moore comes up and hits that double to start off our bottom half, and at that point in the game, I'm like, okay, they're locked in.
Yeah.
It was going to be a ball game and a dogfight from that point on. So we looked at two different ways. The kids responded to coaching very well this year, and we had some great leadership.
Mm-hmm. So now we get to the state tournament, and Carol, you draw a team that you're very familiar with in Linville Sully, who you lost to in the regular season, as you mentioned, a really close game, a game that could have easily won on the road. Before we talk about the game in particular, just talk about the environment, the atmosphere of the state tournament, and how cool that is for you to experience as a coach, your first time, and for the kids to experience. I'd never been to Carroll before for it. Just talk a little bit about kind of the atmosphere and not even necessarily so much about the game, but just about the experience of the state tournament.
It was amazing. I'll say that first and foremost. It was a great experience as a coach, as a team. The beginning of it, it's kind of, a little bit of the you go take your team picture and you get all your good, they bring you a golf cart full of goodie bag type stuff, the baseballs and the medals and all that stuff. And then we were the second game. So we were, sitting out in left field kind of watching the first game, and the first game goes extra innings, and it's Akron, Westfield, and Bedford. Bedford had upset some people, and I'll get to my point, I guess, but Akron Westfield is ranked number 1, and they had to go extra innings with Bedford, and it was, I believe, a 3-2 game in 8 innings. And we start to realize, we can play with anybody. Uh-huh. You just beat the number 2 team, and here we are at the state tournament. And, it's why not? Yep. Got that sent to me multiple times by Coach Shea Moore. Why not us? And she's right. It was why not us? We're sitting there and like, guys, you can play with anybody. Mm-hmm. The realization of you're watching that game and seeing things and really appreciate the other atmosphere of that is having people come watch. Mm-hmm. People that hadn't been to a Savage baseball game in years show up in Carroll, Iowa, all the way across the state, and former ball players from my first team I coached here, they showed up, and about every generation of kids showed up to watch that game. I'm very proud of Savage baseball, and so it gives you some chills, standing on the field and looking around and realizing where you're at, and you're one of the final 8 teams in the state, and really you start to look at accomplishments and all that stuff. But we still, and then we lose 2-0, and you want more. Yep. You automatically want more. It's a natural habit to want that feeling again, and want those endorphins flowing again, those types of things. And the kids didn't want to leave, and so we did stay the night, and then went and supported the softball team the next day. But the experience is, one that probably put a taste in their mouth, and I'm hoping it's a jumping board for everything. Great. I can't imagine a better experience. Maybe being in Perfect Game Park or Principal Park or Dwayne Banks Field, but. To be honored as one of the top 8 teams is just amazing for us. Yeah. Well, and that brings me to my last one here. It really does set the table nicely. Obviously, you'll really miss. You touched on Reed and Jake. You've already mentioned them, and Carter. You lose your 3 seniors who certainly had a ton of success. It seems like Reed and Jake in particular have been in that lineup for 10 years. It's kind of one of those Perry Ellis at Kansas basketball situations where it seems like they've been around for a long time. Yeah, they don't look that old, do they? But you still have a lot returning. You have a lot of pitching returning. Obviously, you've got Caden, who's one of the top players in Class 1A, who will be back, and a lot else back, and then a really good younger group, yep. that had a lot of success at the junior high and JV level. So, do you feel like the kids, obviously Linville Sully wins the state championship, and you're right there. Yep.
are. It is a game that could have gone either way. What kind of message, what kind of springboard does that give you looking ahead to next year? Because I know as a coach, you're always looking to next year. You're looking to next year during this season, as a coach. So kind of what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are some things that are going to be crucial here for you guys in these next 10 months in order to have that opportunity to make another run next summer?
Well, you touched on a lot of stuff there, Mitch. Our JV, if Coach Sellers told me right, he told me two different numbers. One was 30-4. This is for our 8th grade to be freshman group. They were 30-4 on, I can't remember what levels he told me, but I think with the travel ball and everything else, they were like 50-8 on the season. So a lot of promise there. I'll start with Reed and Jake, though. Reed's been starting ever since he was a freshman. Started left field for us. I remember in a district final against New London as a freshman. Has been pitching for us every one of those years, gotten victories for us, and the leadership part that Reed and Jake brought this year was, you could tell when Jake turned it on as well. Their leadership was unreal this year for us, and how they did it, but. Obviously, Reed pitching wise, 6-1 this year. We got that's gonna be tough to replace. And batting wise, he probably doesn't want me to say it, but Reed's junior here, he batted .230. Mm-hmm. So in the spring, we really worked on his. He wanted to work on his swing, get some things fixed, and I think he ended up batting like .360, .370. He was well above .400 most of the year, and. For a kid that tore his ACL about a year ago, mm-hmm. and then missed football, missed wrestling, the story's been told a couple times, but he easily could have said, I'm done, and said, I'm going to go get ready for the University of Iowa. And his love for baseball and his teammates, one more run with Jake Moore as far as being a teammate, I think was big for him. And I couldn't have asked for a better leader from Reed, but this year. Jake, you could really tell when Jake turned it on this year at third base, about mid-season, and I guess before I hit ground balls every day to him, mm-hmm. And I hit ground balls in pregame, and there was a point about mid-season or just after it where Jake Moore didn't miss a ground ball until the state tournament. And I was hitting laser beams down the line for him, and he was snagging them and throwing them, and he defensively he turned it on for us, and all of a sudden you gotta make a run over there.
Keep going.
Mitch is not getting liquor. Okay. He might be. So Jake really turned it on for us, and then. Obviously, batting, he started to turn on well. He started really slow for us batting, and then started to turn it on about midway, halfway or a little after, and started to set the table for us at the leadoff batter. And just those two things helped change our mentality with those two guys as far as our accomplishments and what we were going to do. But so that'll be tough to replace. We have a lot of juniors coming back for leadership. I think we'll get a lot out of them as far as their work ethic. You'll see them kind of before I will. But moving forward, it'll be always. We have. I get asked that every year. Well, how good are you? I was like, well, we have the potential to be really good, and potential just means we have to put the work in yet. And depending on how we work and when we work and do all those things plays a factor. And then obviously, getting in the weight room is going to be crucial for a lot of our kids, just because we will have a lot of talented freshmen and sophomores for next year. I think the weight room was huge for us this year. If you look at a kid like I'll bring up one of our sophomores to be juniors next year is Landon Conrad. Mm-hmm. And Landon, as a freshman, threw 61 miles an hour, and then grew a year, spent time in the weight room. I think he was up to 73, 74 this year. So just that little bit of growth was huge for us. And, we have 8th graders, throwing 74, 75 right now and have great curveballs. And I think if they get in the weight room, and we, even a kid like Lincoln Power, we need to get in the weight room a little bit. He's throwing 80 right now. So we have a lot of kids, and I want to mention them all, but I know we're limited for time. But we have a lot of kids that they put the work in other sports. They make sure they get in the weight room. They become better athletes. We'll be ready.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So it is. It's definitely a bright future for Sigourney baseball and Coach Crawford. And, I said last one, but I'll let you go really quick here. We'll let you put your athletic director's hat on a little bit here, and we'll let you do my last segment for me, too, of the morning as we kind of get ready for fall sports. Camp is underway. Yep. I saw the gym was full with volleyballers this week. Camp Dodge for the football team, and I was out on the golf course Monday, and the cross countryers were out getting after it on the golf course a little bit, getting ready for their season. So just talk a little bit about those three teams and kind of how excited you are for them as they kind of get rolling here for real here this week.
Okay, we will start with football. Just got back from Camp Dodge yesterday, and I know Coach Jensen gave them yesterday off, and probably Saturday, Sunday off, and they start practice on Monday. Really excited for them. You're going to see a lot of new faces on obviously the offensive line here and there, a new backfield, some new faces obviously in the backfield, but some new blood back there as well. I feel like the expectations are obviously always high with Sigourney Keota football. There might be a little bit of a learning curve, but I like what the coaching staff has been telling me as far as kids developing, the leadership I'm hearing coming from certain kids. I'm really excited for their potential and what they're going to do. I think we see PCM first game.
Yeah, we'll know right away.
We'll know right away. I mean, PCM's got a lot coming back, and I feel like it's kind of like our baseball season a little bit with some of them. I mean, we got told we lost to Mid-Prairie and Wilton right before the playoffs started, and they limped into the playoffs. I'm like, Wilton went to state in Class 2A, and Mid-Prairie lost in the district semi or district final. But I feel like those first 2 or 3 games are really going to get us ready for our district schedule, and I think we just have to come out healthy out of those 3 games. Volleyball, really excited for. They just got done with Central Camp. They went undefeated on the first day, finished 6th overall out of 32 teams. And I'm going to guess they're not playing sickle teams over there. I had a college friend message me, said he played our team from Sibley O'Sheedon, so I know that we beat them. But you got Reagan Clarahan coming back, Taylor Rusum coming back. A number of other girls coming back. Josephine Moore. So I know we've got good hitters, good back row, and I think you're going to see a lot of team volleyball out of them. And I think they have a shot to do a lot this year as well. With Coach Davis, Coach Hansen, both really have them geared up for a good season as well. And new coach Cody Branstead is our cross country coach. Been doing some good things with them. I subbed for them this week because he's at State Fair doing his vet thing. So you'll have Troy Klett coming back. You've got the Yates girls coming back. One's coming off injury a little bit, and she just had surgery a couple weeks ago. So they'll be back. Really excited for them. We have Bryn Clarahan as a freshman who just tore up junior high. She should be fun to watch as well. So I feel like that program's building a little bit, getting some more kids out. Saw a couple junior high kids running with them this week as well. So looking forward to see what they can do for times this year.
Yeah, it is that time of year as we are getting primed for some fall sports. They'll be working hard these next couple weeks in practice, and it'll be game time for them before we know it here in just a couple of weeks. So we give a big thank you to Coach Lee Crawford talking some Sigourney baseball and a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank all the parents and the fans and community for also supporting not only Sigourney baseball, Sigourney softball, and getting out there for the state tournament and coming to games. And the community support was just amazing for both squads, and I just want to say we really appreciate as an AD and a school, we really appreciate all that support. So thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break here. If I can get my hands and fingers working here. We appreciate AD and Coach Crawford for hanging out here this morning on the sports section. Up next, we're going to take a look at our Athlete of the Year tournament. We're looking at the bracket right now, and of course, we've had 5 matchups so far in this first week of the tournament. So far, we've got Sigourney Keota's Evan Vidito moving on to the second round, as well as English Valley's Imogen Stratton. We've got Kennedy Axmere from English Valley's. And then a couple of Cardinal girls pulling a couple of huge upsets in the first round. Emma Becker, the 14 seed in the tournament, and then the 13 seed Addison Adam. Pulling the stunner so far in the tournament for me, Rihanna Utterback going down in the tournament. That was a shocker. These Cardinal kids and the Cardinal fan base really bringing it in our Athlete of the Year tournament, sponsored by Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics and Kelly Style State Farm. Now, our next matchup that will go live with voting starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Sunday at 5 p.m. is North Mahaska's Nat Linder from North Mahaska Track, and then another Cardinal athlete from Cardinal Volleyball is Emery Finch, a couple of Athlete of the Weeks from this past school year. And they made it into the top 16 overall vote getters from the year. So that'll be our next matchup. Of course, the winner gets that nice championship belt for the Athlete of the Year. So, again, look for the next matchup to go live with voting starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. for the Athlete of the Year tournament. We'll take it back to Mitch, and I guess Lee's hanging out with us still. You got anything left for us, Mitch?
We can't kick this guy out of here.
He didn't tell me I was done. I just sat here.
No, we're done here for the Lee did all the heavy lifting for me this morning. But no, I just wanted to say, this is as I'm starting to wrap up here. As summer comes to a close, unfortunately, I know we're all sad about that. It's been a fun summer, Steve. I really appreciate you letting me sit in the chair. It's been fun talking to a lot of different athletes. You do a great job of promoting and encouraging athletics in this area. I might have to try to wrestle my Facebook account back from the Saudi Arabians to see who wins this tournament.
Just make a new one.
Yeah, I probably should.
Start fresh.
But yeah, it's going to be fun to see who pulls those out. We got some big time March Madness like upsets in the first round. So excited, but did really want to say thank you for allowing me to have a fun summer doing this, and to all of our guests who came on and got up early with us on Saturday mornings this summer. A big thank you. It was an incredible summer for our entire area, but particularly for Sigourney athletics. Baseball, softball really shined this summer, and it was fun to get to be able to tell those stories a little bit here on Saturday mornings. So thank you, Steve.
All right, appreciate it, Mitch, and appreciate you being our summertime host. Again, we do thank Brothers Market for being our host venue and our headline sponsor here on the sports section. Savings made simple. Go to shopbrothersmarket.com, download the Brothers Market app, and take advantage of all the great deals. Till next week for the sports section, that'll do it for this week here on Steve Shetler Media.